Danny Garcia?
That fight wasn't close.
Oh, it was close enough for you to get in the ring and say, "Oh, I want to fight you next."
You won. If Danny Garcia would have won, I would have gotten in the fight and got in the ring and said, "I want to fight you next."
Oh, okay. So all my fights are close.
They're all close
Against top competitors. And how about you, sir?
It don't matter. They're close.
And how about you, sir?
I whitewash my fight. I get them out of there.
Your last guy coming up from 135.
It doesn't matter.
Calling you out.
It don't matter. I won every round.
You won every round, but
you'd have fought him. It would have been a rough, tough fight.
You won every round, but you didn't hurt him one time.
You would have been in a barn burner.
You won every round, but you didn't hurt him.
You would have been in a barn burner with him. When have you had an easy fight where you just win?
Did you hurt Mikey Garcia?
Doesn't matter. I wasn't trying to.
You weren't trying.
Did you hurt Kell Brook?
Oh, so that's what we do.
Did you hurt Kell Brook?
We get in the ring. I was trying to hurt Kell Brook.
Did you hurt him?
I believe I did.
You didn't.
I believe I did.
You didn't.
But don't flip it. You all of a sudden you're not trying to hurt somebody.
There's a part of the onion there I want to peel back a little bit. You're coming off arguably the biggest victory of your career, certainly from the standpoint of being on the big platform, a pay-per-view date with Mikey Garcia, then unbeaten, 12-round victory, dominant. But you didn't stop him, and you said just now, I didn't want to. Why?
They said if it would have been a tactical fight, Mikey Garcia was going to beat me. They said it all throughout the whole presser until the lead up to the fight. And I made sure that I was going to show my skill set and my talent and my abilities, not only physically, but mentally, just showing my whole skill set. And I've been said that. And he know I've been said that.
What'd you learn?
Counterpunch, counterpunch, counterpunch. I'm just looking at the PBC face-to-face between Errol Spence and Sean Porter. And Errol Spence just straight up said, I wasn't even trying to hurt Mikey Garcia. And it's funny, I did question a lot of times, did Errol Spence carry Mikey Garcia? See, and a lot of people thought that he didn't, a lot of people thought that he did, but by his own admission, he said, I wasn't trying to hurt Mikey Garcia. I was trying to fight him tactical. I was trying to show him that I can beat him every round. If I would have knocked him out, I guess he's saying if I would have knocked him out, that would prove that I couldn't beat him technically. Okay. First of all, I gotta agree with Sean Porter. He was trying to say that Sean Porter couldn't hurt his opponents, and Sean Porter was like, well, damn, did you hurt Mikey Garcia? Oh, I wasn't trying to. Well, don't flip it. Don't talk about hurting a fighter and showing your power, because that's what they're talking about. Punching power, right? Punch placement. What you can do and how can you affect another fighter. Then turn around and say, well, I wasn't even trying to fight that guy or hurt that guy. And it's weird to me. I love the back and forth. You know, shouts out to Face to Face. Shouts out to really Face Off with HBO, because they actually gave birth to all these particular platforms of fighters sitting down face to face and, you know, speaking their piece, so to speak, right? But I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, if you weren't trying to hurt Mikey Garcia, but you're trying to hurt Kell Brook, and Errol Spence was like claiming that, well, hey, Kell Brook beat him in everything that he was trying to do, and he deflected things. So, and I beat, you know, Kell Brook, so what do you think I'm going to do to you? And it's so funny about this. These guys are going back and forth, and the major thing I extracted was the biggest fight, like the commentator stated. He's coming off the biggest win of his career, right? Or really the biggest fight. Because who's to say now that you've carried Mikey Garcia? You just admitted you did. You carried this guy, right? So who's to say now that, where's your skill set? He was like, well, I beat him in everything I wanted to show him. Well, you couldn't show him and then knock him out? You know what I mean? That's what I don't get. I don't understand, you know, why he would do that. I guess he did it because he felt that if I knock him out, it'll look too dominant, maybe. You know, but why carry Mikey Garcia? Mikey Garcia knew what the hell he was doing when he came to 147. You know, That's one thing you got to give it to old Deontay Wilder. Let someone try to come up there. He ain't going to carry him. He's going to knock you out. So what Errol Spence tried to do, Errol Spence tried to just showcase his boxing skills. But he brings that up in this particular event, in this fight. But for you carrying a guy, I don't think that's really cool. Especially a smaller guy. You got to put that guy away. But I guess he did it to save face. Mikey Garcia is a, renowned name, and he could always say, hey, I went 12 rounds. But now you really can't say that because Errol Spence saying I carried you. You know what I mean? So really all the accolades you give Mikey Garcia, you really can't give him due to what he just said, right? Now, these two fighters, this is going to be a good fight. You know why? Because you got Sean Porter and everyone's overlooking him. Everyone's talking about Spence and everyone else besides the guy that he's going to fight, which is Sean Porter, which is the WBC champion. He's the current WBC welterweight champion as of right now. He took the belt off Danny Garcia. Okay? And I look at this fight. Sean Porter has a lot to prove. And I think if he loses, he's still going to be a top fighter. But, fighting someone like Spence, I think Spence, as of now, is overrated. This is the actual fight that he needs to show people where he's at. You know what I'm saying? And he needs to keep continuing to do that. Not fight. Mikey Garcia, that fight should have never been made. Everybody gave Mikey props, but it was stupid anyway. He should have stayed at 135 or 140. You know how many fighters that he could have fought at 140? But that is his career. And we don't know what he's going to do with that Eddie Hearn situation. So he could be fighting those guys at 140 before I speak too quickly. But these guys here, you got Errol Spence. He just brought a little guy up and carried him for 12 rounds. But what really qualifies you to fight someone like Sean Porter? See, Errol Spence can talk that shit because he hasn't been in a situation where he's had a tough fight. Kell Brook gave him a pretty good fight up until the point his face started to crack open or re-crack open, right? But it didn't really mean much at that point. That was it. That was 2 years ago. Then everybody else dicked him around, right? And he couldn't get the fights that he wanted. And I guess he stayed loyal, stayed, obedient, right? And now he finally is getting what he says that he wants. Or is someone else saying or telling him what else to do? That's the question you ask yourself. But nonetheless, this is crazy that Errol Spence carried Mikey Garcia. I may go a live stream about maybe 12 o'clock tonight, which is about 6 a.m. UK time. So you guys want to tune into that so we can discuss this thoroughly. It might be even 11, so probably 5 in the morning for you guys if you guys are up and early, because I have to discuss this in detail because this means a lot to the welterweight landscape with Errol Spence and his intentions. So if you're carrying a fighter, so you have time to carry fighters, but you don't have time to fight the best fighters, the number one fighter or the number two, or however you want to look at it. Terrence Crawford is way up there. Errol Spence is down there. He is not the top 5. He's like top 6 or 7. He's in the 6 or 7 range, but he's nowhere near the top. So the question would be, if he wants to be this pay-per-view star, why don't he go after Terrence Crawford? And if I'm the baddest man on the planet, that's not him. If I'm the boogeyman, right? I want to shut a lot of people up, and I'm going to do that by taking on these tough fights. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this face-to-face. I'll leave the link below in the description box. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys have been Counterpunch. Peace.